problem is not Israel. The problem is this ideology, and it's spreading. There's like a virus. The world is right now sick, and I have to be this anti-Semitic disease is not our responsibility to cure. It's a society problem, not the Jewish problem.
I'm honestly surprised it hasn't occurred. There haven't been more people killed. I mean, I'm being serious. Like,
are you working in a supermarket?
I'm checking out. If you were to look at, like when you did have attacks on synagogues and shit, like I don't know, like 10 years ago, like anti-Semitism wasn't even like close to as popular as it is now. But
now, right now, it's crazy.
Now it's like mainstream.
Now it's crazy, and the fact that people feel that they can attack Jews in the open, or they can attack anyone, right, just because of their religion. Like, I was watching the news that a couple of days ago there was this kind of like concert, like Christian concert or whatever, and the LGBTQ and trans people and whatever, they disrupted the concert, saying that they were provoking, that this is like a far-right movement. It was a Christian concert, and people were there, like in a park that they hired, they were having their, exactly. And so in the same way, like, this is outrageous, like, it can't be that you cannot practice your faith, or you cannot, you have to be threatened physically, for your own preferences. This cannot happen to Christians or Jews or anyone. And it should be stopped, whoever it is. So it can't be that because you're a Jew, you cannot go to a synagogue, or that you're going to get killed because you go to the Jewish museum, like this couple. They were Jewish, or were they? Yeah, they were Jewish.
One of them.
One of them was Christian. They all had I mean, the Christian guy had Jewish ancestors.
But in America, this is happening in the U.S. for folks.
Yeah, but terrorism has always happened. Like, I'm gonna say, that's why I said, like, I actually think it's actually almost a miracle only two people have been killed.
This is beyond terrorism. This is common people feeling empowered to go and attack someone and kill someone.
He's not a common person, though. That guy was a radical.
Well,
no, he's being radicalized on social media.
But he was a member of, like, the Socialist Party of, I forget which one, but he was involved in protests and stuff.
Yes, but he is not acting on behalf of ISIS.
He's acting on behalf of a national domestic terrorist organization. They're communists and socialists. They're organized.
No. It's not an organization. People are being indoctrinated, and that is the problem. It's not like an organization that sent this guy to do this. He was like sitting at home on his Twitter feed, on his TikTok feed, getting enraged, and then he just took a gun and did it. And this is actually, it's also happening in Israel.
Those are the people who wants to control.
It's really, you don't have intelligence on them. You don't know where they're coming from. It's not like it's an organization that is doing it. It's individuals. That is a problem. That is a problem. Yeah, exactly. And this is a problem of abusing this free speech and all those platforms that, you can say whatever you want about whatever you want, and there are no consequences, and there's no responsibility, and there's no accountability. And then someone goes and does something. It's like, oh, he's a loner. He's a crazy. No, he's not.
But what you're citing is what they would call stochastic terrorism, and this was widely weaponized against the right wingers by the left. If we were to point out anything about race, for example, they would say, oh, well, do you know that people with your rhetoric end up going into schools and shooting people, or black churches and killing people? And it's kind of like a way to like silence your opponent. Now, I do think that you may not agree with a lot of the rhetoric, but even somebody like me who's not, I never really had a issue with Jews. I never had a real issue with Israel. I've always thought the Jewish or Israeli lobby here was obnoxious. I always thought they over-weaponized the term. And I think a lot of us are always like, it's about time that like they can kind of get treated like the rest of us. It was always off limits to target Jews, but now it is. It's like, oh, they were going after white people, and white people have been going after black people. Now you guys all of a sudden, it's like, oh, you want to be reasonable, but you realize they're not going to be reasonable with you. That's how it happens.
I'm not sure I followed your line of thought.
In other words, if I was to, it may not be in your timeline, like on social media, because you probably don't care about this stuff, but if you were to look at the shit that black people in particular will say about white people, it's like, it's violent, it's like very dehumanizing. Not that I care what they think, but it's like we're used to dealing with that, and it's obnoxious. And they're used to us demonizing or dehumanizing them as well. Jews, I do think you guys had like a protected status where probably the one thing that would be the worst than saying the N-word is kike. Like that will literally get you deplatformed, lose your job, you'll be forever branded a bigot. Saying anything.
Hey, I'm live streaming over here. Can't you just say the K word?
Not anymore. Now you can say whatever you want.
Not anymore.
With no consequences.
Well,
that's just the thing. It became legitimate to attack Jews, and it's not just like you're talking about blacks against whites. I'm talking about like governments. I'm talking about UN people that are spreading like blood libels. Like there was like last week. I don't remember who is this UN whatever commissioner of bullshit something. He said within 48 hours, 18,000 babies will die of starvation in Gaza, and the entire media was outraged about it. Nothing happened.
But I talk to people that are like I was last night. To people that are Christian, they're not that religious, but they're kind of Christian like me. One of them's a left winger. I'm not left wing. I say liberal. And so we were talking yesterday that none of us were Muslim or Jewish or anything. Now, all right. So now, here's what I see as kind of the problem. This is what at least as I've seen it. What you see right now is people protesting the war, and they're saying you guys are genocide and you guys are bad. Now, I know that a lot of Israelis are like, well, I don't get it. They're only doing it to us. Well, if you look back, like when I was in college, the invasion of Afghanistan and the invasion of Iraq, we had protests at universities. You guys are killing children. You're starving children. You guys are genocidal.
Against another nation of people. And by the way, I don't think that anyone was attacking like Americans in colleges or like murdering people. It's not the same. In Israel, we have protesters against it. We are allowed to support protests that are global against Jews. Nothing like what you're talking about. Nothing. So
I think it depends on which I think you get the people that have been propagandized and the useful idiots for that Muslim Palestine people. We know what the Muslim Palestine people just when you do have like the genuine left-wing people that do think it's like horrific what they're seeing, and these are the same people that protested during our wars. Now, I would say this, and this is where it becomes very tricky. There's a lot of things that we are seeing, okay, that even among right in America, we find to be pretty fucking disgusting about what's happening to the Palestinians. With that being said, it's hard for us even to gauge. Are they doing the right thing? Have they gone too far? Is this appropriate? It's like, how do you, we can, and I and many others that don't really, yes, you could say like, we don't like what we're seeing, but it's really hard to say what can they do. When you look at the totality of circumstances, maybe you guys did go too far. Maybe you didn't go far enough. I don't fucking know. Like, I'm not somebody who can really give that answer, but it does look ugly. There's going to be people that protested.
Yeah, but first of all, they're not protesting to stop the war. They're not protesting to release hostages. They're not protesting against Hamas. There's not a single protest against Hamas, which is a terrorist organization that is committing war crimes, crimes against humanity, and violates every fucking law in the book, written by God or written by man. Not a single person is going out on the streets of New York or Washington and protesting against Hamas, not a single person. Make it make sense. Is that morality? Is that humanity? Is this justice? Is this anything?
Well, I think October
I'm
7th,
time
we saw
and
the
I'm
outrage
too
and the
busy
disgust
with my work
by-
to lie.
No, I did not. Actually, do you know when the protest against Israel started?
the
Do you know
next
when the
day,
protest
but that
against
was mainly
Exactly.
but that was mainly by the Muslims, particularly in Europe where they have a high population. You weren't really seeing the protests were quite a bit smaller, at least the ones that started the next day, because those were only Muslims, and we have a small Muslim population here. But yet the Muslims didn't even apologize. They didn't.
Same shit.
Yeah, when he won the first time, you remember the first time Trump won the election?
Right. Yeah.
Devastated.
Right.
Right. With the girls that's yelling, no!
Yeah, crazy bitch. That picture of the crazy bitch.
So it's the same here in Israel. Every time there's something good, Bibi is doing something good, that's how they react. Every time. When he won, the next day they went to demonstrate because of that. Because he won the last time. That's the only reason why I like Bibi. He makes them suffer.
So
Go out of the.
So it's good to know that the Jews out over there, Harry, are the same as the Jews over here. Fucking retarded.
The liberals, yes. The retards, yeah. The libtards, how do you call them?
Yeah, libtards. Yeah.
It's not exactly
Liberalism or the left